So the idea of this video that we want to put out is that I just want to talk to you guys, and I want you guys to, just talk about being decoys for PSA. What motivated you to do it, and was it difficult, and was it not difficult? So those are the kind of questions I want to hear from you guys. But I mean, it's very informal, so I'm not going to ask you. You're going to need to state out how you feel about it. But the first thing where I want to start off with is, in your mind, Johnny, how do you feel about it? With the differences between a decoy? What's the description of a decoy as such?
Are we talking sport? Or are we talking as a dog helper?
Let's start off with sport.
So I think the big difference is obviously, as as a helper, you're there to do exactly that. You're there to help. You're there to develop the dog. You've got a view or an insight to the animal that the handler standing behind doesn't get to see all the time. So you're really there to help that handler and their dog. On the sport side of things, the way I see it, I'm there to show the dog's weaknesses, the dog's strengths, and then also the training's weaknesses, right? If I'm standing on the side of the field and before I get to decoy, I spot certain things in the dog and I know I can probably mess with the dog's head on the field through that, then I'm going to exploit those weaknesses. I think that's really our job on the field, is to show people the great training, the bad training, the great genetics, the bad genetics. That's what we're there for. It's on the field where handler and dog leave it all. And we're as a decoy, we're really the ultimate test of what their training was, right?
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Obviously, keeping in mind the safety of the dog every time.
Yeah.
But that's how I see myself a little bit as the enemy when I step on the field. If you did something wrong in your training, I hope I can show it off to the world. If you did something great, then I hope I can show it off to the world as well. So
I think that's an awesome description of a decoy, if you can put it that way. It's there to basically show the weaknesses and the strengths. Then from the distance there in the Cape, Shane, what do you say?
What was the question again? Sorry.
We've been
he's South African, Charles.
The question is,
you're gonna need to say it again because Johnny was laughing too loud.
I said, the question is, do you measure in inches or centimeters?
Millimeters.
What would you say how to a decoy? If somebody would say, define the word decoy in the sport, or you as a decoy, what is your job as a decoy, a certified decoy? So how do you define that word decoy?
I would, we've got a couple new oaks that have also joined our club now. That we've got a young girl who's like 18. She's just left school. She also wants to get into decoying. She wants to get into the whole security side of dog work and all that sort of thing. So when I'm talking to them and telling them about what our job is as a decoy, I always explain to them that there's two types of decoys. I like to tell them it's basically we are a trial decoy and then we're a club decoy. And as a club decoy, you are helping the dogs to get better, to progress within the club. You're not hurting them, and you're putting them under pressure, but you're not trying to scare them off or break them or anything like that. And when we get onto the trial field, then it's a completely different story. Then you're trying to, like Johnny said, you're trying to test pull out the weaknesses from the dog, and you're trying to run them off the field back to their handler and stuff like that. And then the first thing I stress, which is what Sean taught us at the decoy camp, is you're always going to return the dog to the handler. Doesn't matter if you're a trial decoy or a club decoy, you always return the dog back to the handler the way you put it.
Hundreds. Wesley, how's it? Is he driving? Is he doing a Zoom meeting and he's driving? Must only be in Cape Town. Right, something I want to bring up, Ruben, what did you find as difficult, the difficult part of being a decoy or achieving the decoy certification?
Consistency and fitness.
Yeah, fuck, I
really
was
have
to
to-
say fitness if I was you, remembering what you look like.
Yes. Yeah. It was a lot of fun certifying, but you have to be fit and you have to be consistent and you have to be safe with the dog. Your technique has to be good because, like Shane just said, you have to give the dog back to the owner in the same way that they brought it onto the field. You have to keep these dogs safe. There's a lot of time and time that goes into these dogs. So hurting a dog on a field is not even an option as a trial decoy. So your technique has to be good. You have to be fit, and yeah, consistency. I have to test the dog, the second dog, the third dog, and the fourth dog the same way I tested the first dog.
It makes it fair as well. You know what? I want to throw something out to all of you out there, and the question I find, but I always ask somebody is, what is the difference? Because a lot of times we get a little bit in decoy mode. We get stuck in decoy mode, and we always want to be a decoy. But and this is why I want to tell me what you guys do at your clubs, for instance, when it comes to decoy versus helper work. A lot of times you more see a decoy out there even with the young dogs trying to be more a decoy than a helper. I don't know how you find it at your clubs, Tegan.
Obviously, we don't really have any certified decoys at the new club. So we do have the trainers, as you say, which is obviously Nadine and Phil. And then I try and help out where I can and try and see what dog can be, what we can do differently for that dog, to try and build the dog in the, how would you say it? Yeah, to try and build the dog, and yeah, find the weaknesses of the dog and see how we can develop the dog in a better way and not just do it one way and that's how the way is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always tell people,
I'm new to this.
I always say to people, the reason why I train a dog in PSA is I want to derail a decoy because there's two entities out there on the field that's stealing my points, and it's him and the judge. So I can't send my dog on the judge. I mean, but I can send him to the decoy. I can derail a decoy. I mean, that's what I'd like to do, because he's going to not be that arrogant himself when it comes to my dog. He's going to think twice of doing it. So, I mean, that's me as a competitive side when I think of, for instance, the decoy. But I do find a lot of the clubs, and especially in South Africa, and when the guys talk as well, they don't emphasize the helper side of things. Wesley, I don't know about you guys there by your club. How do you guys feel about that? Creating more helpers than decoys?
I think Wesley's restarting his phone, Charles.
Okay. Marlo, what do you think?
Oh, Charles, at the moment, we've got the same problem. We haven't got any certified decoys at our club at the moment. But for me, same thing. I'm not nearly fit enough to do the decoy work for trials. But for me, the helper work is preparing the dog to be able to face whatever that decoy on that field is gonna throw at him. It's building that dog up enough so he can handle any scenario that the judge can think of. Every part of that trial that you're doing that day, so your dog can succeed in every part of it. Well, that's my opinion about a helper. Is
it so important to have certified decoys in a club?
Well, Charles, it's always nice to
No.
have certified decoys in your club,
But what benefit?
yeah,
What benefit does it really give to you to have certified decoys in the club?
Johnny, I agree.
Zero. Well, a few
it's not
small
always.
ones.
Neil, what do you think?
Jules, I obviously don't think, I told you the other day is, I don't actually mind not certifying as a decoy. At the moment, to me, it doesn't really matter. I actually want to be the guy somebody phones to fix a dog or to help a dog to fix a problem. I don't. The certifying a decoy, yeah, it's nice. I can. Fuck you, Johnny. So I can trial I can decoy in trials, but I mean, to me, being certified doesn't really matter. It's more important being a helper at the club to actually get to the trials. That's the thing. Otherwise, who's going to get to the trials and who's going to actually make the trials or pass the trials? That's I think that's important.
Yeah, because if I look at
So can I bump in here, Charles?
oh, sure, Johnny, you go for it.
Thank you. Neil, that was a load of nonsense. You better certify. But what I wanted to say is that I hear you there. It's difficult here, and you see it a lot here in South Africa, where the guys have a hard time kind of getting into training mode. And so like for myself, one of the habits I've forced myself to do is, even though maybe sometimes I know what the dog's going to do or what the handler's going to do with the dog, I tend to kind of ask, okay, what are we doing with the dog? Okay. And that's more to my mind, to that mindset that we're working, because handler has goals. He's got something he wants to accomplish, and I need to think about that before I step here and help the dog. We do it a lot with your dog, Marlee's dog. We always say, okay, what are we doing? What do you guys want us to do? As in my head, I can kind of start processing, okay, this is the behavior I want to see. This is what I'm going to do if the dog behaves like this and like that. But, especially with me, I find it very difficult to get into that. I love the decoy side of it so much that's where my mind naturally takes me, right? So I make that effort to kind of put the conversation before we even start with the dog to, we're working to build this dog. So what are we going to do? Where are we at with the dog before I go in there and start, doing whatever it is I'm going to do. And that habit has helped me kind of, be able to transition between what I'm doing. And yeah, that's, that's something I recommend for people. Always speak to your handler so you understand. And I think for me also, I have very little patience. So, in my head, I want that dog to be further ahead, even though it's not even my dog. I want to see, okay, I tend to push the limits a lot more. And, many a time, if you continue like that, it will be detrimental to the dog's growth and to the dog's confidence, right? So asking that question to the handler also sets me back a little bit. My head is up here. Okay, today I'm gonna fucking do this with this dog, and then I have to tell myself, well, ask the handler first, because maybe we're not there yet, and that transitions me back down to a bit of reality and saying, okay, this is training mode. I need to cater for this dog specifically, right? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, it's exactly what it takes a whole club to click, I suppose, where everybody brings his part in. I mean, we're representing 4 clubs over here, if I'm not mistaken. If I think we all 4 clubs do things differently in their training methods and stuff like that. But I do find, and Wesley, are you actually with us now, or are you still squabbling there? Wesley has gone again. All right. So other one I want to ask you is, how do you guys feel about this decoy fitness situation with this decoy test and fitness test and stuff? What do you think of it?
if I'm going to go first, I think it's actually good. I think the changes that they've done to the decoy, everything for the decoys with regards to certifying and doing like a written part of the test and everything like that, I think it's actually quite good. And doing this yearly fitness test, I think it's good. It's going to keep us up to standard. Just like you expect the dogs and the handlers to be up to standard, the decoys need to be up to standard as well. You can't just go and certify and then for the next 5 years, you never go and do a push-up in your life.
Yeah. I agree.
And, sorry, Charles, can I jump in here?
Anytime.
I also like it because we can't call ourselves the best decoys in sport if we can't prove it. If we don't have the best fitness between us, if we don't have the best technique between us, and we want to be the best. We as PSA want to be the best sport in dog sports. So in protection dog sports. So we need the best on the field to make sure our dogs come off safely from the field and can get tested properly on the field. And if I'm unfit as a decoy, by dog number 3, I can't test it as nicely as I tested dog 1. So it's unfair towards the handlers if I'm not fit.
Anybody else want to have a go at that one?
So I dislike it purely because it means I have to stay fit. But what the side I like of it is that you the side I like to it is that we, you're, even if you want to set that goal for yourself, which you should, if you want a decoy, to be honest, you should you should look after your fitness, and you should make sure you show up to competitions and trials, in shape and form in order to perform to what's expected of you by the judges, right? So look, I don't stay fit all year round, but before a trial or before a a training day or something, I'll do a bit of a diet, maybe do a little bit of jogging and stuff, try to get my lungs breathing. But what I like about it is that it creates another element of sacrifice, and that to me is a good thing, right? So if the guys know that at any point I can be tested, or I'm showing up to this trial day, and the senior decoy and a judge is going to run some tests past me, you constantly have this challenge that you have to deal with. And look, to be honest, staying fit affects your whole life, right? It affects your weekends out drinking. It affects the brides we like to have here in South Africa. So there's this constant sacrifice. There's this constant sacrifice that you need to stick to, right? So I like seeing that, because you can look at a guy that clubs get together, and you look at the guys warming up, or you can see the guys are fit and stuff, and you say, okay, these guys mean business. They're here because they want to be here, and they're willing to do sacrifices in order to do so. So that side of it, I can appreciate it, and I think it's good for lazy people like me. It pushes us.
I just want to say, Shane, if that 18-year-old girl's going to watch this video, that please, she mustn't. She can listen to what Johnny says, but don't take him as an example. Don't start training a few weeks before the time and go on a diet or something like that, because he's exceptional to the norm. He's exceptional to the norm, but there's a reason for this fitness test, and we all want to abide by that. But Johnny is Johnny, so we'll just apologize in behalf. You get my point.
We've become accustomed to that as like the PSA South Africa is always having to apologize for what Johnny says.
Boom. Oh, that is good. All right, guys.
Excuse Johnny.
I want to get some advice from you. So we've got these youngsters in the sport, like what Shane is explaining to us. We always we also encourage the younger people to get into it, because it is a vital part of our sport. And also, I always push for the helper work as well, so that these guys also learn helper work, and also push people to actually compete with the dog, at least get that PDC in the dog or something like that, so that you can know all aspects of the game. The more you know about the game, the better you're going to be at it, if you're a competitor or if you're a decoy. But now, I just want to run through this and just like advice that you guys can give to youngsters like this, because standing in front of a dog rushing down at you at like 65 kilometers an hour and catching it, and I'm going to be honest with you, I maybe you guys can call me wrong, but the bigger guys do better in the sport in the way that they can give away for technique a bit, but your smaller guys really have to like work at it. At a technique. If you've got a youngster weighing 65 kilograms and you've got a dog like Alpha that's 38 kilograms coming down at you and pulling you around, I mean, you're gonna have to somehow get a technique going on where you're gonna be able
taken down to the ground.
So it's a statement I'm throwing out there. What kind of advice can you these guys give somebody that wants to enter the sport, wants to become decoys, want to come help us? What can you suggest that how they must approach this whole thing?
Charles, I've got two new youngsters there by me. My cousin, 21, and then one other guy. He's a bit shorter than me. Now, my cousin is tall, so he can. I saw him now working Archer. It's much easier for me to send Archer on him than the shorter guy. I'm also short, so I had to really start working on my technique to make sure I don't hurt a dog like Alpha or hurt a dog like Sar coming in at speed. And I know I wasn't always great at my technique, but I tried to sharpen my technique, and I've been working hard for a while now, trying to get sharp for when we go to the next trials. Now, with us, I saw exactly what you are talking about now with the big guys. My cousin that's tall, he can give away the technique, but with the other guy, I have to work extra sessions to make sure he can be able to catch a good dog one day. Otherwise, we tend to, as soon as we see someone struggling in a suit or struggling with a sleeve, to push them aside, not give them the extra time in the sleeve, because we are so scared of the dog getting hurt. What you guys did with me was amazing. You guys took me aside there. I remember still with Zorro, me, Marley, and Zorro there to the one corner with Brandon. And you guys helped me with my sleeve work. And that was my turning point. Before that, I was excited for the decoy work. But when Marley and Brandon took me to the corner there with Zorro, I wanted to start training these dogs so that they hurt decoys, so that they can take the test on the field. Now, that's the approach I would like every club member, every club guy to have towards their decoys. Give them time, give them space, give them ideas. Don't break them down, build them up. See good parts in them and try and exploit those good parts so it becomes better. We tend to hammer on weaknesses and not on strengths. If we hammer on their strengths, they grow and they want to become good decoys.
No, we not like that. We don't hammer on.
No, you bullies.
Mute him. How can I mute him? Shane, some advice there for the newbies.
If I'd say for the newbies, I'd be like, never stop learning, basically. So don't come in here and after like 4, 5, 6, 7 years you think you know everything. I think every day, even after so many years, you still can learn things from even the younger guys. I mean, if you take it over to like a form of martial arts like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it takes like 14 years to get to black belt. But then once you're at a black belt, you still can take like 15 years on top of that to get to your top of the range black belt. So it's like never stop learning the techniques, never stop training. So yeah.
Ronnie?
Yeah, that's me.
He only practices just before trial, so I don't know why you're asking him.
Yeah, but he's
Pretty
got
much.
he's got a fan belt in street fighting, and it only took him 3 years to get there.
So, sorry, my phone went offline there for a bit. The question is, or you're saying what sort of advice we would give to new people joining in?
Yeah.
Patience. Have a lot of patience. It takes time. Don't be sensitive. it's very obvious that when you fuck up, someone's going to tell you you fucked up because, you know, you've got their dog on you. Charles, you're going to make me laugh, then I can't talk straight. But yeah, have patience, take the criticism. You know, so I think opposite to Ruben over there. So, you know, Ruben wants us to focus on, you know, people's positives, and that's great. You know, I can tell a guy, listen, you did this very well. But, you know, if I'm not constantly pointing out the things, or when I say if we're not constantly or pointing out the mistakes or pointing out the places where you can better yourself, then it's never going to happen, right? And you know, so there's a few things in the picture over here. Number one, people are extremely emotionally attached to their dogs, right? Number two, some people have paid fortunes for their dogs. Some people have hunted down for the perfect dog for 10, 20 years, and only now they have them, right? And if we're sitting there making mistakes on their dogs, whether it's as a trial decoy, whether it's as a helper, people are going to get personal about it, right? And, you know, they're going to shit you out. I mean, I've been shouted at for fucking up. And you know, I see it all the time on when we have our training days, when someone doesn't like what you're doing, you know, the tendency you're going to shout at the decoy and, you know, tell them you're stuffing up my dog. So the decoy you need to have patience with the handlers. The handlers not all handlers understand how much the decoy goes through, you know, the amount of effort he puts to being in there, sweating his balls off and stuff like that. And, you know, it's physically tiring, it's physically taxing. And you know, sometimes you may feel like, okay, these people don't appreciate what I'm giving up to be here, or, you know, what I'm putting in order to help them. So you have to have patience, you have to have understanding, and dedication, lots of dedication. You know, we've seen it a few times where we don't, you know, decoys aren't dedicated. You know, we've seen it in our club where people come through, they say they're going to help, but they're not really dedicated to it. And you know, the handler is there, you know, sacrificing their time or putting their dreams into this, and they're expecting you to be there, right? They're expecting you to be there wholeheartedly. If you're not going to be there wholeheartedly, then I'm the kind of person who would say, then rather fuck off. You know, no one has time to be on the field training their dog with a guy or with a helper or a decoy who's half-hearted in there. And you know, it's hard to be full-hearted in there, because in the beginning you don't know what you're doing. You generally are afraid of stuffing up. You should be afraid of stuffing up. You know, that's how you're going to learn. So it sets up kind of all these mental blocks in your head, right? And that's where the patience kind of comes in, and you have to work through it.
Yeah, I like that, what you guys have just said. And you know what, I'm going to sort of say, because we want to post this video on our YouTube channel. And one thing that I want to tell you straight out, whoever listens and watches this, is it's not an easy job being the decoy of a club. Decoys are usually the first to come and always the last to go as well. They are a heart of a club, because we're not doing PSA for the obedience. Let's be fucking honest here. We're not doing PSA for obedience. I'm doing it for the bike. It excites me. Okay, I have to do the obedience, so I do it because that's part of the game. It's like, but it's like rugby. I love the scrumming. I think it's a fantastic part of the game. But you have to do certain other things as well to get to that point. So it's a big job, and it's a big commitment. And the big thing is, once you've committed yourself, there's about 4 or 5 members there that's not training dogs at that level, like for bite work and stuff. And you have now made yourself a very important person in a club, and important person in people's lives with their dogs. Because I don't know, there's nobody that coins anything from PSA, that I can assure you. It only takes your money. So it's really time and energy that you put in there, because of the love of doing it, and you like doing it. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I think everybody of you guys will be able to say to me, I do it because I like this, I do it because I like that. I don't think all of us will have the same viewpoint of why we actually do it, but there's certain stuff that we do, and certain something that you like is being that party of a club. So I must say, if anybody is looking forward to it, it's nice to hear that you guys have got youngsters like that, Shane, coming into the game. And the other Cape Club also, it's a bunch of new guys that's coming in there. It's nice to see. I just really hope and encourage you guys to keep at it and just stay at it. You never get good with something just with a year and stuff like that, or rushing, chasing something. You have to grow, and even if you grow slowly, it's fine. You're growing, but it's if you don't grow, that's when you're going to start fading out and you're going to lose the skills. And I mean, if I look at Shane and if I look at Johnny and I look at Wesley and Ruben, the guys who's got their certifications and stuff, I mean, I always look and see how many people there are in other clubs, and a year later, how many are they still there? And a year later, then are they still there? And you can see how people lose and fall out. And you only get those diehards that stay in there. And those are the guys that become heroes in the sport, like your Shawns and the Joshes and those kind of guys. It's like they've been there for a long time. So just to keep it up was what you guys are doing. Just so we all have it, yeah, so May is the trials in Cape Town. We're all going to see you both probably over there. Shane, you're gonna decoy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll decoy that one.
Okay. So, Johnny, I think we're not far away from starting to see who the decoys are and everything. And then what we're also going to do soon is we're just waiting for PSA to come back to us regarding the new certifications. I know from our side, there's 3 guys that's going to try out. Tegan, I don't know from you guys, how many of you guys are trying out for the decoy cert?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check on that. I know I am.
Well,
I think there might be 1 or 2.
Let's say there's 4.
From
Shane,
us.
by you guys, you don't have anybody, eh?
We've got a couple guys who are. Sorry, I thought I was on mute. We've got a couple guys who have started out, and like I'll just have to check with them. I see Wesley's not really connected. I don't know if he's connected to the audio, but we've got like that girl. I don't know if she's going to be interested. She's 18.
Man.
There's a big Indian oak that's just joined us now. He seems like quite a powerhouse if he could learn all the correct techniques and everything. So we might have 3, maybe 2.
Okay. So, guys, that sounds promising. So for anybody that's interested in decoy work, you can contact any of these guys. If it's for maintenance, money and stuff like that, that's got fuck all to do with PSA. Contact them personally. So I thank everybody for this chat we had. I'm going to post this as trying to get more people interested in decoy work. And soon I also want to get your guys' videos that we want to post of your club's training days and fun days that you're having. Thank you very much for joining. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
No problem.
Cheers.